Hi, my name is Don Quimby, and this is my first YouTube video. And I want it to be about um, arithmetic to algebra, kind of a connection there. I'm not sure how far we'll get today, but I want to keep it kind of short. I'm a science teacher and a math teacher. In science, I have students do some math, labs. They'd have to do a few trials. So suppose we did these trials and the students just jotted down like something like this. -2 times 1 plus 2 equals, and they're not really lining things up with like we like them to. -2 times -3 plus 2 equals, and maybe someplace a +2 -2 times 2 equals. Okay, so 3 lab trials, and then there'd be another group that has 3 lab trials. You know how it is in labs. I like to do at least 3. And so now, we have to do a little bit of data mining, and like scientists do, they have tons of data. They have to look through and see if they see a pattern. Here, what do you see for a pattern? Well, a lot of students think a pattern is repetition, and I see some repetition here, -2 times something, over here, -2 times something. In both of those, we have +2. So let's start with that. -2, -2 times -3 plus 2 equals, and we'll line this up. When we look for patterns, it helps to line things up. Sometimes people get jobs where they're just doing that, just organizing the data. Here's one, -2 times 2. See that? Now it's switched around here, but still it works. -2 times 2. Now we add the +2, commutative property. Okay. And since this is arithmetic, I guess I would have you pause the video and do that. I'll just keep going here. So a negative times a negative is like not negative. So it's +6 there, and that's going to be 8. Okay, right there, because you have +6 plus 2 is 8. Here we have 2 negatives, 1, -2. But then we have +2 here, so these two positives will cancel out the 2 negatives, and we get 0. And here we have 2 times -2. That means -2 twice. That's a total of 4 negatives. But we're adding 2 positives on, so we won't keep all 4 of these, and we'll wind up with -2. 2 negatives left over. And now we can see kind of a pattern here, but scientists oftentimes like to graph these kinds of things. Engineers, scientists, whatever. And so we have here X and we have Y, and that's usually how that we like to see a pattern, as a graph. Over here, I don't see an X and a Y, but keep paying attention here. Suppose I said to do another trial. You always, and if you had another trial, we see a -2, -2, -2. If I had another trial, what would you have here? Like 2, 5, 10. Now you'd have -2 again. Okay, follow the pattern. Another trial, be -2. It's pretty obvious. You have parentheses. You'd have plus right here. Here you have 2, 2, 2. It's not going to be 3. It's not going to be 10, 50, -80. It's going to be 2 equals. Now, we had a pattern by seeing what this keeps doing. What does it keep doing? You can see 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So it's going to do 2 again. What's this keep doing? And what it does is it keeps changing. And the word for that is, another word is keeps varying. And that suggests then that we use a variable. Some of you have heard of a variable. And the one we normally start out with is X. Okay. And then here, another variable. Not X though, not the same one, because X stands for, -3, 1, 2. Well, we have different over here. So the next variable that we usually use is y. Now we can relate that to this xy Cartesian coordinate plane. And so when x is -3, we have +8 for y. When x is -3, y is +8. So let's go find -3 on the x axis here. -1, -2, -3 right there. And then where is +8? Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up around there. Okay? We also have when x is 1, y is 0. When we go over x is 1, right here, y, we go up to 0. It's not very far up. It's also not down. It's right here. Y is 0. Okay? And then when we have x is 2, y is -2. When x is 2 over 1, 2. Right here. That's how far we go over. But then when x is 2, y is -2. So we go down -1, -2. Right there. And look at that. That pretty well suggests here a pattern. The pattern is a nice line. Now this is also a pattern. This is an algebraic pattern right here. Algebraic pattern. And that pattern represents all of this data. Okay? So this 8, well, this trial, this algebraic pattern, this algebraic equation represents all of that. And then we have the line there. So here's this mess of data up here, and it's really not too big of a mess, but you know, it's not lined up. Well, it turns out to be a nice straight line. So there's my first video. Hopefully you can give me a like on that, and I won't keep you any longer. And also subscribe. That should help me out. See how far we can go with all this. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.